The stats are really significant in terms of the rise of certainly type 2 diabetes, how much that costs the NHS. That's now 500 children a week having to be admitted to hospital to have teeth extractions. And you can chart quite a bit of this down to the rise in sugar in our food. We're all consuming, on average, 3 times as much sugar as the government recommends. Reading the back of packages, if you're only quickly looking at the back, you might see the word sugar only once on the ingredient list, because it's in so many forms, refined sugar. The big thing highlighted by a number of environmental organisations is the huge environmental impact of certainly large-scale sugarcane production, and the real threats that it has, the threats on the loss of biodiversity being a particularly big one, and also a big driver for environmental change. There are 12 countries across the globe that have more than 25% of their entire agricultural land has been turned over to sugar production. You've got a lessening of the protections that are in place for cane sugar farmers, and they'll be competing in a different way, and that can often put small-scale farmers at a disadvantage. There's a real danger that this could reduce the price of sugar or make certain other things, such as sort of high fructose corn syrup, a more competitively priced product in this country. For us, in terms of the public health side, because we really don't want sugar to be any cheaper than it is. It's a disincentive to reformulate and reduce the sugar, because why should they, or when they can replace one form of sugar with a slightly cheaper form of sugar. We have to take individual responsibility for what we eat, but that alone, I say, as great as anybody's willpower is, those kind of small-scale changes are not going to be the things that actually seriously reduce our sugar consumption in the way that's needed. Reformulation, on the one hand, so companies actually reducing the sugar content of their food. The type of thing that we've seen in salt reduction successfully over the last 10 years, where we've taken huge amounts of salt out from our diet. As consumers, we've hardly noticed it, because year on year it's been done gradually but consistently. Public Health England has just produced a report that says that out of all the food that we buy in supermarkets, 40% of that is on offer, is on special offer, and it's the wrong type of products. All the evidence shows that it's sugary, the products high in fat, salt and sugar that are most promoted to us. And if you just look, say on TV, at what is promoted, what adverts are go on to kind of family entertainment shows, a lot of them are about sugary products. We need to have a better food environment around us, one that is not nudging us, to make the wrong choices. So that's what we'd really like to see, is really strong marketing regulations brought in, particularly to protect children. One of the key things is a duty, a tax on sugary drinks. That's a major source of the sugar in children and young people's diets. So we're advocating a 20p per litre or 7p per can, some extra charge put on drinks with added sugar. That money to go to a children's health fund to be used for measures to protect children's health. This is something that other countries have. France, Finland and Mexico, the US city of Berkeley. Studies so far show that the sales of sugary drinks reduce, certainly in Mexico in the first year, by 6%. The benefits have gone mostly to the top, to those few big players in the sugar industry, and not necessarily down to farmers themselves. So you've got a really interesting thing that actually, if we were to try and encourage farmers in this country, so sugar beet farmers, to diversify and to move away from growing sugar, that's one of the things is actually there could be job creation in the longer term and not job production. There's a process that can be had probably quicker in the UK or in sugar beet than in sugar cane to diversify, because one of the challenges for small-scale farmers at the moment, if they're growing sugar cane, is that it's an investment, it's a crop that kind of delivers for 5-10 years, therefore you're going to have a longer-term program of diversification over 5-10 years. You have to look at them and see, okay, what are the best ways of doing this, and it can be done. It's been done in tobacco growing areas, for instance. What it all comes down to, whether the individual choices that we make or how companies operate, we want to see a more sustainable food system. I think that does have to start with governments and with European Union and its agricultural policies, and with the big trade agreements that are being done